as the BJP is all set to announce its next party president, the next big political story is going to come from the state of Bihar, which is, of course, election bound. Who will win Bihar? Who will be the next chief minister? While, of course, things in Indian politics change week to week, forget month to month, we'll be talking to C voters Yashwant Deshmukh in just a moment to read the political tea leaves. I'm Barkha Dutt. You're with the Mojo story. Bihar is a critical test case for both the BJP and the opposition. Not just is it an extremely significant political state, it is also about testing alliances and testing the health of the opposition. In Bihar, Nitish Kumar, sometimes known as Paltu Chacha for his constant flip-flops, is back in the NDA fold. But is he really an advantage for the alliance? What about the prospects for the Congress party, or rather for Tejashwi Yadav, who's really the main factor of the Bihar elections? And then, of course, there's somebody who's a relatively new entrant, Prashant Kishor. We've known him as a strategist. He's now hunkering down and trying to do grassroots politics, building a party from the ground level up. How much of an impact will he have? Will he be a change maker and X factor? There's a lot to talk about as we look at the Bihar elections, who's ahead and who's behind. Yashwant Deshmukh, our favorite political pundit, leading C voter, is with us. Welcome, Yashwant. It's been too long.
Yeah,
We've been missing you. बहुत गलत बात है. I think we need more elections.
absolutely. But without elections also, I must say, before you start on the Bihar thing, I have been doing some really fascinating thing with my team on the non-electoral thing. As you know, we do a lot of, and
Yeah.
I'm sure at some point of time, Mojo audience will get to know about that as well. From really fabulous stuff, ranging from mental health to the environment. I mean, that's something that we'll take on from another program.
Absolutely.
But right now, today is Bihar. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I know you also have a survey on Waqf and many other issues, so we'll get to those. But yes, today our attention is all on Bihar. Now, this is a very interesting election because popular perception, before we bring up, who is the preferred choice for chief minister, and that's what a lot of people want to know. The popular perception is that Nitish Kumar is a depleted yet essential force for the NDA. It's a kind of contradiction, right? कि
Yeah.
जान मतलब बहुत strong नहीं है लेकिन फिर भी जरूरी है for the NDA. But when C voter actually looked at what the personal or individual popularities are of all the key leaders, and you've done a very interesting thing. You've done a C voter tracker looking at this popularity from February to April, the month we are in. Now, this is a very important slide because it shows that Tejashwi Yadav remains the single most popular choice for chief minister. Nitish Kumar has dropped slightly, 4 points almost, according to the C voter tracker. And Prashant Kishor and his team really sees this data point of yours, has emerged as the second most preferred choice for chief minister, overtaking Nitish Kumar. Now, I want you to talk about these numbers and tell us the patterns that you see in the numbers on your screen.
Well, Barkha, there is some of these are long-term patterns, some long-term trend lines. Like for example, slide of Nitish Kumar. In our data in the tracker, from the high of the 40s in say around 14, 15 kind of time, in 10 years, his ratings we have consistently seen going down, and now they are around 15. And that's a very
Hmm.
secular, consistent decline. Is going by the day, and obviously, the decline has everything to do with the Palturam politics. His credibility has taken a nosedive among supporters across the party line, where earlier he used to draw support from almost all across the party lines and various factors. But now that is gone. Number two, whatever the remaining popularity is also there, that is going to probably bit down because of his health and his lack of, what shall I say, uh, lack of spirited appearances in public platforms more often that he used to earlier do. So one long-term trend line is very clear that his popularity on the decline. The lack of Nitish Kumar on that kind of stage is creating a vacuum of sort. Now, when you see a vacuum, then a vacuum has to be filled by somebody. Now, another long-term trend line is the rise of Tejashwi Yadav. So far, we have been reporting all along that he has been there now for almost like 5 years as number one most popular CM candidate. Off late, however, I am also watching him slide a bit, and that sliding a bit
I
has.
was I was going to ask you, in your numbers, he actually slides 5 points from February to April. How do you explain that?
So I have seen, I've tried with my team to dissect what exactly is contributing to that slide. That slide is not really by virtue of those numbers going in favor of, say, Samrat Chaudhary, or say, for example, Prashant Kishor or Chirag Paswan. That is largely going into some of the Congress names, for example, Tariq Anwar, or for Kanhaiya Kumar. I mean, the 1.2 point, 1.2, but it seems like, Congress is kind of digging their heels on the ground. It's something like they are insisting. I think some of the yatras have started. So all of a sudden, Congress is slightly back in circulation, and due to them being back in circulation, about 2 to 5% point people are kind of swaying here and there, 1 point here, 1 point there. So I guess that is something that he has to deal with. But classically speaking, when you are near the election, you are more likely to see the anti-incumbent face gaining momentum and going up. You know, in Bihar, it is not happening. So Tejashwi has touched a high of 42, 41%, and then on the low of 35, but he is ranging between 35 to 40.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that as if he is consistently gaining momentum beyond 42, 43, 45, and like that. It's not happening. That also shows us the limit of, what shall I say, the Tejaswi's appeal, or RJD's combinations appeal, and the combination that they hold, the limit of that. So, all in all, when there is such a vacuum, then the new faces, they get sucked in that vacuum, and the faces that they are getting sucked in that vacuum, the most prominent one among them is Prashant Kishor, and obviously Samrat Chaudhary is there. Samrat Chaudhary's potential probably is to go up to 30%, provided BJP declares him the chief ministerial position. BJP
hmm,
will declare him, and that is why he will be neither here nor there. But okay, I mean, his name on his own, I mean, that's largely the BJP supporters. But there is a classical uh, anti-incumbent caste agnostic vote as well in Bihar, Barka.
yeah, yeah,
Bihar, we are habitual of looking at Bihar only through the caste prism, arithmetic, right? As if Bihar is nothing beyond caste group. While the fact is, Barkha, right from the Andolan days, as we call it, the
hmm,
Jayaprakash Andolan days, and even before that, the socialist movement, there was a significant, social movement in Bihar to drop the caste and caste-related politics, and this is why we had so many names who dropped. Nitish Kumar, for example, dropped his
yeah.
surname. Or we have got so many Bhartis, Nitish Kumars, Kumars, and everything in Bihar.
Yeah. So before we actually come to your slides that actually look at how satisfied people are with both Nitish Kumar and the government, I want to just stay on point and talk about the three or four characters in the story. Samrat Chaudhary, the BJP leader, you say has potential, but only if he's declared as the chief ministerial candidate. Nitish
Right.
Kumar, you say, is a declining force. I think there's no two ways about that. Yet he has remained critical to the BJP's plans in Bihar because of a somewhat committed basic minimum voter base. And then there is Prashant Kishor and Tejashwi Yadav. Let's talk about Prashant Kishor first. Prashant Kishor supporters are very excited by the data point that emerges in your survey, and credit where credit is due. For him, as a person leading a new party, to have emerged as the second most preferred choice of a CM candidate is no mean achievement.
Yeah, it's a big achievement. I'm credit due. I was one of the people who was skeptical about when he tried to become a politician, and
Yeah.
we had talked about it. And I said that not every strategist can, do an Aam Aadmi Party also came in a vacuum with a thing, and then we have seen startups where the movie stars have come up,
Hmm.
in Andhra
Yeah.
Pradesh or in Tamil Nadu, and taken
Yeah.
in few votes,
Yeah.
but Prashant Kishore is neither politician nor a movie star. So obviously, this task has to compare something like Aam Aadmi Party, but then it was an Andolan party. Prashant is not even coming from basically a massive Andolan movement kind of thing.
Hmm.
So I guess that there are few things happening right now with Prashant Kishor, where he is getting these kind of numbers. Number one is obviously the vacuum, that he is basically getting into that kind of situation where the middle of the ground voter was, one
Hmm.
which used to be the JDU voter, not the RJD camp voter, one which was the pro BJP voters, but in areas where they used to be JDU candidate, the pro BJP voters are not entirely happy with JDU thing, and they need an alternative. So the same kind of vote, you remember, Chirag also polled in 6-7% in the last assembly election when he gave candidate against JDU. So there is
Hmm.
a significant 6-7% support base out there. I guess that he is capturing that, number one. Number two, he is also capturing, as I was mentioning in before the last question I was mentioning, that there is a approximately one fourth Bihar, 20 to 25% Bihar, I would say, which actually is caste agnostic. You know, yes, I understand when you say 75 to 80% Bihar looks into the caste first to before voting, but then we always tend to forget the remaining 20-25%. And that caste agnostic Bihar is something which hates everybody. Everybody, like any leader who is
Yeah.
going on a caste equation timeline. And I think Prashant probably is looking at that and appealing to that section. So there, as I said, there is an anti-JDU BJP voter, uh, anti-RJD JDU voter, and then there is a caste agnostic voter, and then there is a vacuum. So I think a mix of all those things is helping him his numbers go up right now. But having said that, Barkha, uh, I must warn here, popularity ratings are one thing, converting them to the votes is another thing, and converting those votes into seats is another thing. So as
Absolutely.
long as Prashant is eyeing a really long-term game in Bihar, which I hope he is. I mean, if he is serious player out there, then these are a very enthusiastic numbers to build on. But if he is only looking at immediate gains right now in this election, then at this point of time, I am doubtful. I need to keep an eye on this tracker, whether his popularity crosses 20% mark, and whether those 20% turn into votes for him, and that 20% votes can eventually win seats for him. Now, these are three different equations and angles to study on.
Absolutely. And I would apply that question now to a question about Tejaswi Yadav. Consistently you have said, I think for a few years now, that you think Tejaswi Yadav is a very serious, hardworking politician. Yet he's had some difficulty sometimes in crossing the last mile when it comes to fulfilling his political aspirations. Now, my question is, we have seen in other states also, sometimes there is a person who is the most popular for chief minister, but their party is not able to get either the vote share they want, or they can't convert the vote share into seats, right?
Right.
Uh, and sometimes people will respond to somebody who they think has promise, but when it comes to actually voting, there are a number of other factors that take over. We saw
Right.
this in Maharashtra, or we saw it in Delhi, where there might be high recall for a Kejriwal, a high recall for an Uddhav Thackeray, but that's not how the results played out.
Yeah.
When you look at this massive popularity, even though it's fallen a bit from February to April for Tejaswi Yadav, what do you see? What will be his main challenge, given that he has a strong base, but he's not necessarily been able to do the last mile in the previous elections?
I think his challenge is going to be Congress. He needs to get the Congress along for those 4-5% votes, particularly in the urban areas. At the same time, he needs to contain the Congress, जिसे कहते हैं ना कि जितनी जरूरत है उतने भर का ही रखना वाला हिसाब है. Because last time
Mhm.
Congress got
Yeah,
70 seats to contest, and you know what kind of pathetic strike rate Congress had. Otherwise, Tejaswi was, for all practical purposes, he would have been the chief minister if the Congress
yeah,
would have contested only on 35 seats.
yeah.
So he needs to contain the Congress, use the Congress, number one. I think his another challenge is to go beyond the MY phenomenon. Last time he started gaining, in our tracker in the last 6 weeks, when he started harping on the Rojgar, 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 Rojgar. So because the unemployment was the biggest issue that was coming out in the tracker, and we could sense Every week we were saying that, okay, Rojgar is getting up, and so was his number were
mm,
going up. So I think he has to do something to go beyond. And why what Akhilesh did in UP
mm,
during the Lok Sabha, that he gave minimal number of seats to Yadav and Muslim candidates. And the moment he started giving more from the upper caste and OBCs, non-Yadav OBCs, his electoral, viability increased,
mm.
in that way. Can Tejaswi do that? That is something which remains to be seen, because unlike UP, actually, Barkha, Tejaswi's MY base is much more aggressive. Uh, ma-
Yeah.
Please remember that in UP, Mulayam Singh Yadav, whom fondly known as Netaji, also carried a spectrum of other, I mean, ranging from Janardhan Dwivedi, sorry, I'm forgetting the name, the Brahmin name, the main, to Verma, as the Kurmi, and Beni Prasad Verma as the Kurmi face. And so he carried a significant chunk of upper caste and OBC, non-Yadav OBC leaders with him. He kind of propelled them into the front
Mm,
stage and made them important people. They were big leaders,
mm.
in that way, in their own right. So that MY identity of Samajwadi Party in UP was not as aggressive as it is in Bihar. So I don't know if Tejaswi can do that. If he can do that, his numbers could go up. We'll know in the coming months. But right now, he has a bigger headache in terms of Congress, how to tackle Congress at this point.
Yeah, yeah, very interesting. Let's come now to see voters' dipstick assessment of levels of satisfaction with both chief minister and the state government. Now, I don't know if I'm overreading here, but I found that Nitish Kumar, once again, look at this. The number of people who are very much satisfied has fallen. You have to correlate this with Nitish's personal popularity also falling a bit from February to April, and the number of those who are not at all satisfied has increased, right?
Right.
And when you actually compare these with those who are not very satisfied with, can we get the banner on of the government, of the state government, right, of the state government? Actually, it seemed that more people were there it is. 33.5% are not at all satisfied with the state government compared to 41.2% with Nitish. I'm correlating this because it seems that more people are irritated with Nitish than with his government.
Yeah, true that. I mean, and that has a lot to do with the BJP supporters in the state, and particularly the upper caste BJP supporters in the state. You know, so it's a yes, you are correct that it's more of an irritation or lack of goodwill that Nitish
Mm,
used to enjoy with all the BJP supporters. That goodwill is no more there. You know,
mm,
uh, but then he's a bitter pill for BJP, because BJP also knows that in 2014 Lok Sabha election, when Nitish contested on his own, he
yeah.
almost polled 14%. Our track, I mean, our number is now half of that. I mean, this is what I believe, that Nitish on his own carries roughly about 7-8%, something like that. But BJP knows that those 7% are important votes. And if he does another pendulum swing,
Hmm.
then BJP will be in trouble. You know, so
So the BJP still needs Nitish, though Nitish is a spent force or
absolutely,
a
BJP,
fading force. I should
yeah,
not say
and
spent
BJP
force.
will
I should say
never
a
let
fading
go of
force.
him. Never let go of him. They would they will keep him in highest respect to be on the public profile, public platform. According to respect, just the way they gave highest sort of respect to even Naveen Babu in Odisha, even though
Mhm.
he is still active and they contested. But BJP knows in Odisha that post Naveen Babu scenario, they have to get that anti-Congress Naveen Babu vote. That's how
Yeah.
they're long term. BJP's good, bad, and ugly thing is that with RSS, they have got a 25-year roadmap, and they will go accordingly, and they will not really look into immediate gains, and in that the same way that maybe Congress has to deal with, or other opposition parties have to deal with that. So they know these 7, 8, whatever residual Nitish supporter is, it's basically anti-RJD in nature, and they want to carry them in
You
a
you
post
don't you
election.
don't think, given these numbers, he's a liability for the BJP?
At this point of time, no. I mean, yeah, I mean, he looks like a liability for a big number of. But come to think of it, BJP also understand this thing very well. No matter how angry or upset their supporters are with the Nitish Kumar or JDU because of the flip flops, they are not going to swing and vote for Tejashwi. You know, it's
Right.
not happening. So they know. They also tell that their supporters that okay, see, we are putting up grooming Samrat Chaudhary or some other leaders. They are the future
Yeah.
as far as the BJP is concerned. And also the fact, Barkha, look at the new faces BJP has projected in other states as chief ministers. So they are telling their supporters, we have got enough people. We will put them in face at the right time. But this is not the right time because in the last 10 years, two times you have seen that Nitish has swung and we lost. So be practical, understand
Yeah.
your limitations that we cannot win without Nitish Kumar. So they are going to take him like the way they have been taking.
Bitter pill, as you said. Now, to zoom out and look at the national mood in Bihar, of course, there is no telling on what the impact of these factors will be on the assembly elections. But as always, your C voter survey looks at the levels of satisfaction with the prime minister and with the leader of the opposition, Rahul Gandhi. Now, this is one state which is a very interesting state where the prime minister continues to enjoy uh, reasonable level of popularity. But uh, are we seeing this right? Oh, this is choice for prime minister.
Choice for prime minister. Yeah,
Yeah, I got a bit confused. I thought it's levels of satisfaction.
yeah.
So clearly the prime minister is very well placed as the choice for prime minister. And you can see that Rahul Gandhi's numbers have actually come down, but so have Prime Minister Modi's by a few points. So I would not maybe overread into either of those declines, or what do you
Yeah, I
make
mean,
of?
if it is an open-ended verbatim questions, people come up and say all the names. So yeah, I mean, this has been the name calling. I mean, there are other leaders that people prop up in Bihar. Bihar being Bihar, you will be surprised the kind of names that we get Bihar. We also get name of Stalin from Bihar. I mean, Bihar is so politically informed. I don't know why and how, but yeah. But when you do a
Amazing.
two-horse race
Yeah,
between Rahul Gandhi and Narendra Modi, then the numbers are almost like 55 and 35. That kind of gap, and you can see the gap even now. 20% gap you can
yeah,
see, and that's a huge gap. Number one,
yeah,
Prime Minister was in Mithilanchal, so
yeah.
we have seen rallies, and just before the show, I was talking to my team that we should run a poll in Mithilanchal, just to understand the impact, because Mithilanchal is a very classical area. Has been a BJP stronghold, all along the border, runs right up to the border of West Bengal and a border of Nepal, the entire that area. And Prime Minister starts his campaign with the strongest of his footing, with Makhana board and the jobs and the entrepreneur loans and like that. So that tells a kind of a strategy that BJP or Prime Minister has devised. So what they are doing, seems Barka, they are starting with their strongest area, hammering it down,
Yeah.
organization, everything that we don't have to worry about this again. And then as the campaign will go, they will keep on shrinking it to the battleground seats. And then you are likely to see a really high pitch
Yeah.
campaign from Amit Shah and Narendra Modi right on the ground in the last 1 or 2 months of the election, as we reach the election. So they have started with their strongest point so that they don't have to go back again and see that. So NDA clearly has this advantage of Modi, no doubt about that. Modi is extremely popular in Bihar.
Yeah, but when you raise the levels of the question about levels of satisfaction, if we can have that banner on the screen, obviously the prime minister, the levels of satisfaction with the prime minister are very high. But there is a block that supports Rahul Gandhi. There it is. See voter says 47.1% are very satisfied with Modi and 31.2% are very satisfied with Rahul. Uh, so how do we make how do we make sense of this number given how far behind Rahul is in choice for prime minister?
I think they are very, very partisan. These are very partisan. And when you look into the cross tabulations and look at the composition of these 47.1 and 31.2, you can significantly understand that the big blocks of Rahul Gandhi supporters are coming from the MY block of RJD,
Hmm.
and that's it. And non-MY block is consolidating on the other side. And I think that's the advantage Rahul or Tejashwi has, and that's a disadvantage. As I mentioned, that they need to grow beyond that. And that extra thing, last election 5 years back, that extra thing came from the youth of Bihar. Can Tejashwi do that? I mean, that is something. Unlike 5 years back, somehow this time I don't see a massive upstick of youth voters for him. So far, it's still few months to go.
Also, Prashant Kishor is probably eating into that very same base.
Prashant is eating, Samrat is eating, and
Yeah,
so is Chirag Paswan.
yeah,
His numbers are steady. His numbers are 1 or 2 point going up. So Chirag is all said and done is something he's holding on to what his father built for him and adding some more youth voters into it. So his immediate problem is basically the new challengers, either from BJP or in terms of Chirag or in terms of Prashant Kishore. They are all young youth names.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's why that extra youth voter, which was propelling Tejaswi into stratosphere, that is absent this time. And that's a very immediate challenge. And by the way, Tejaswi's problem of the youth is not just limited to the BJP benches. His problem of the youth is also coming from the Congress benches. I mean, for all practical matter, the Congress faces, particularly Kanhaiya Kumar. I mean, those who are really aggressive in the field, they are youngsters. I mean, so Tejasvi is given if you probably sit with Tejasvi switching off the camera, he would probably be more mean towards Kanhaiya Kumar than Samrat
Absolutely,
Chaudhary. So
absolutely.
his problem is within his own camp.
Yeah, let's end, in fact, exactly with the slide that's on our screen to go back to who's the most preferred CM candidate. Now, as you said, the Jaswi's challenge is going to come today because that upswing of the youth voter, some of it is gravitating towards PK, some towards Chirag, some towards Samrat Chaudhary. Uh, this throws up all kinds of possibilities. And while the sides of everybody is known, Prashant Kishore, Prashant Kishore, if it comes to it, do we have any sense of which way he'll go if he needs to support a government?
Mm, difficult to read at this point of time, but given that how much personal campaign that he has done against Tejaswi Yadav with the now we fail kind of remark, it's quite a personal campaign against him.
Yeah,
Uh, राजनीति में तो खैर सब कुछ possible है, so I mean doing a flip for him would not be surprising. Anybody should not, but all in all it feels like um, uh, his chances of probably going this way towards the NDA are likely to be more than on the other side. But I think that also kind of answers your question, actually answers one very strategic thing. What actually Prashant Kishore wants? I
yeah,
think what Prashant Kishore wants is to take the place of JDU and Nitish Kumar
that's
in a
true.
standalone capacity, that कि हम जिधर जाएंगे उसको जिताएंगे वाले हिसाब किताब में. I think that's the role he wants. He wants to be, first of all, kingmaker and then the king himself. That's how he looks at Nitish Kumar. I think he wants to be the next Nitish Kumar of Bihar. That's how I understand. I guess that's how
Yeah,
he is trying to be. And being Nitish Kumar, as you know, doesn't really matter where he is going as a kingmaker, he will eventually come back as a king. But if that is something which Prashant Kishore wants, I don't blame him. That's a very enviable
yeah.
position to be.
Absolutely. I mean, look at Nitish Kumar today with his fading political capital and yet
Yeah,
essential to government formation in Bihar. Thank you, Yashwant. It's always fascinating to talk to you. We're looking forward to our next conversation, which is going to be in Tamil Nadu in the coming week. And then, as promised, we're going to pick up sea voter surveys on all of the non-political issues,
absolutely.
non-electoral issues that you've been talking about. Thanks. Take care and have a
Yeah, yeah.
great weekend.
Take care. Have
Thank
a
you.
great day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.